Good afternoon. Welcome to another week of child psychology. This is week 13. We are really in the home stretch, and I know that because this week, excuse me, we're starting our last unit, which is adolescence. When I first wrote this class years ago, this was really just supposed to be child psychology, which was one semester, and I was going to do adolescent psychology as a second semester. But then we only had openings for one class, so we ended up squeezing them together, which is going to be really exciting. Um, I think what's important to keep in mind, excuse me, is that with adolescence, it's kind of the completion of childhood because this is the transitional period between childhood and adulthood. Um, I think this is maybe where we go out into the fields and see what kind of harvest we have or are able to gather from the children that we've helped to raise, and or at least gotten out of the way and let them to develop. Um, and So it's really exciting to come to the end of this class. I wish I had had more time to spend with you face to face. I really have never really seen you. Um, with discussions, I've been able to really learn some good things about you. But on the other hand, I think I would have probably learned a little bit more effectively seeing face to face. And some of those discussions, I tell you, I think we would have just really had a good time in class, been able to go back and forth with ideas. Now, this one from the excuse me, from the 12th week, this was a difficult subject. This is not a pleasant thing when we realize how the things that we take for granted or enjoy or look forward to in our lives are really things that cost someone else. So thank you so much for considering that. Like for most discussions, there's not really a right or wrong answer, but instead there is only an opportunity to truly take a question into ourselves, to see how we feel about things. Um, Consequently, I I find that there are a lot of really good, great discussion answers that I don't have time to discuss. There are some people that probably could call you out a lot. Um, but I really am just trying to touch on something good from each person. So this last one, I just want to call out a couple of people. Um, Taking looking at the cost of things, taking time. Time is certainly a price that we pay. Anytime you take time to spend with one person is time you don't have to spend with another, or even time that you spend with yourself for your own self health and taking care of yourself is time that you don't have to spend with a lover or a child or your job or something like that. And I think Jasmine and Kalani both made that point that it's worth it to spend time with other people to get to know them, but that there is a cost to that. That's time that you're not able to put in a different direction. So there's that. I think that Rocky mentioned something as far as the military. That's often something that many people sort of take for granted. Is we talk about our rights and responsibilities in this country, but we don't often take into account the cost for providing those rights. And now, it might be a little bit different from the reading because many people know and they count that cost and they say, well, it's worth it. I want to serve or something. Um, but that doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be thanked as well. Amber Curran, I'll mention you because you said something really good about a work situation. You like helping people. Well, do we realize that helping somebody means that we need them to need help? Um, which may sound sort of convoluted in the thinking, but it's really not. It's very important to understand. I wouldn't teach if there weren't people who needed to be taught. I don't know so much that they really need to be taught, but I do really enjoy being part of the journey to see people become all that they can become. Um, so consequently, keep my card, keep my email around, no matter how many years it is. You can always call on me, and I'll see if I can help you out. Um, so here we go with this chapter 14. We're getting into the next unit, or the last unit, which is on adolescence. This is a fascinating chapter because pay particular attention to the difference between boys and girls with puberty development. Essentially, puberty comes as the absolute end of childhood because when puberty comes, you're becoming an adult. We become adults, literally, physically. So for that reason, puberty is the end of childhood. So where the other units, maybe go through 5 years old, or the unit that goes through 2 years old, or something like that. This is the unit that begins with puberty. There isn't really a time. So there's an issue there, as we find that in the last 20 years or so, more children are reaching puberty earlier and earlier. Well, there's a cost to that, like there's a cost to anything. Is there a good thing? Is that good? Well, we see a lot of physical problems later on in life that are associated with earlier onset of puberty. So also you got to be concerned that we may still be children in our minds, and children in the way we look at things. And for that reason, it may be difficult if suddenly you hit puberty and people start looking at you like you're, like an adult, or at least an adolescent. People look at you differently. Now, are you able to psychologically handle that? And so I think that's probably the main deal. We saw in this last unit with the end of the chapter 13 that we see that children are primarily comparing themselves with other people. Now, here you have puberty hit. So say you're the first person in the class who hits puberty. You may not really look at that extra little bit of fat accumulation that is associated with puberty as that so much as now I'm the fattest kid in the class, or nobody else has what I have here, and so there's that negative comparison. And then also, having an adult body means that now you have to make adult decisions that the younger adolescents may not really feel like they're ready to make those decisions. So consider all those things, and it's been a great semester with you. I hope you've really enjoyed the class, and let me know if there's ever anything I can do for you, and have a great week.